Hey guys, Mr. Happy here, and in this video, I'm going to be doing an overview on the next step of the Zodiac Braves quest line that was added to Final Fantasy XIV in patch 2.45. Now, for those of you who are wondering, this is the step after the Nexus weapon, so this will transform your Nexus weapon from item level 115 into a brand new relic that is item level 125, and just so you know, that weapon is dyeable. So this quest is actually extremely straightforward, especially when compared to much of the previous quests that we've been having. It's about as straightforward as the first quest to unlock your relic. It's a little grindy and it's a little RNG based, but in my opinion, it's not that bad. I'll leave that up to you though. So, it's not really too much of something that needs a visual guide, so I've created a Google document going over all of the ingredients you're going to need in order to finish this item. Now, I am going to briefly go over the quest right now just so you have a full understanding of it. So once you've completed your Nexus weapon, go back to North Shroud and accept the next quest on your quest line. Once you complete that quest though, there will be nothing else to tell you where to go unless you've read the quest text. What you actually have to do is accept 4 new quests from around the world and complete those in order to finish your weapon. Now 3 of those quests are right in Mordona. You'll notice them the next time you go there. They are repeatable quests, so don't be too confused if you see a lot more repeatable quests after this. There's also one in Central Thanolin where you did your Sphere Scroll for your Novus, which is in the Goblin Materia camp. So, once you've accepted these 4 quests, which I've outlined here, they will each ask you to do fairly similar things. Each one will ask you to clear 4 dungeons. They'll ask for 1 Bombard Core, 1 Sacred Spring Water, 1 unique item, 2 HQ crafted items. These are 3-star crafted items, and then you'll be able to complete each one. The order in which they ask and the dungeons they ask for are all different, however. So I've created, as I said, a total ingredients list here at the top of the document. So the first thing you'll need, as I said, Sacred Spring Water. You'll need 4 of these, 1 for each quest, and each one will cost you 1600 soldiery from Oriana in Mordona. This will be under the Soldiery Tomestone's other tab. So yes, you will need a total of 6400 soldiery in order to complete this part of the quest. Don't worry, I have a few tips for getting all that soldiery. Now next, you'll need 400,000 gil, at least, in order to buy 4 different items that each cost 100k at various vendors around the world. These items are Allagan Resin, Bronze Lake Crystal, Furite Sand, and a Brass Kettle. I've included the locations of each of these items in this document, just so you know where to find it. The next thing you'll need to know is how to get your Bombard Cores. You'll need 4 of these as well, and each of these are 20,000 Grand Company seals. So yes, you will need 80,000 Grand Company seals. Again, have a bit of advice if you didn't save up right before the patch. Now, the big thing that people are talking about are the drops from numerous dungeons. Now, these are almost like Atmos for dungeons. Don't worry, the drop rate isn't nearly as bad. So what you're going to have to do is when one of these quests asks you to go get an item from a dungeon, your goal is to complete that dungeon and hope that when you leave, you get the drop. So it doesn't come from chests, it doesn't come from individual bosses, it comes from completing the dungeon and then leaving that dungeon. I'm going to show you what I mean on the screen right here. Just beat the last boss of Hawk Manor hard mode. We're all saying good luck on the drop, good job. I leave the dungeon and there it is. There's the pop-up right there. Obtain my Void Weave for the quest that I needed it for. You can only get the items from the dungeons that are currently flagged for quests. So don't try and farm them all out right at the beginning. Do them as they're requested of you. Now there's a few things I want to say. 1, you do not need to be on the job you're upgrading your weapon for in order to get these items. You don't need to have your Nexus equipped, none of that. If you wanted to get your Bard weapon, but you wanted to farm all the dungeons on your tank or healer, you could very well do that. You do not need to play the job where you have your Nexus on at all in order to complete this quest. Remember, these drop after leaving the dungeon once it's completed, and it'll pop up on the screen very similar to the Alexandrite pop-up as well as the Atma pop-up. And because you need 4 dungeons for each quest, there's a total of 16 dungeon drops that you're going to need to get. Most of them are level 50, however, Darkhold and Aurum Vale are both on these lists at certain points. And the last thing you're going to need are several 3-star crafted items, high quality. These are brand new items that were just added in patch 2.45, and they each require a new item that can be obtained through desynthesis. There's an NPC in the Silver Bazaar where you can buy these items about 3k gil each and desynthesize them in hopes of getting the item to help craft these 3-star items. So, you're going to need a total of 8 3-star crafted items, and they're all going to have to be high quality. 1 from each of the crafters: Culinarian, Weaver, Leatherworker, Alchemist, Armorer, Blacksmith, Goldsmith, and Woodworking. So, That part can get expensive. If you yourself are not a 3-star Omnicrafter, or you don't have friends that do the various 3-star crafts, that step, it may be difficult for you. Right now, they're high in supply, high in demand. The prices are going to vary from server to server, may go down or up depending on supply versus demand in the future. So just keep that in mind when you're doing this part of the quest. There's also some of the items that you can get from them that are from new mining and botany nodes, so you may want to look into farming those as well. So in total, that's all you need to do. You need 6,400 soldiery, about 400k gil at least, 80k Grand Company seals, farm whatever dungeons it tells you to until you get your drops, get these 3-star crafted items HQ, and you are done with this step of the relic. Now I have a few pointers for those of you who are looking at this. May seem like it looks like a lot of grinding. My biggest piece of advice: don't try to do each step individually. Don't try and farm your 6,400 soldiery first, then farm your 80k Grand Company seals. You realistically want to spend as much time grinding the dungeon drops as possible. You'll get soldiery while you're grinding the dungeon drops, and you can roll need or greed on the loot that drops in hopes of getting more Grand Company seals. So if there's ever a point where you're stuck, you need the soldiery item or you need the Bombard Cores, then you'll have to complete them. And I highly recommend knowing ahead of time which quests will actually let you get back into a dungeon after doing that. For example, a Treasured Mother, this is a good step. This is a good one to save and do last. Try and get to the other steps, to the last steps that require Bombard Cores and Sacred Spring Waters for the other ones. And then when you have no dungeons to grind, just complete one of the quests that is going to be followed up by a dungeon. You want to try and avoid focusing on one task at a time here. It's going to make it seem a lot more monotonous than it really is. And other than that, all I can really say is good luck. The drops really aren't that bad. I went 1 and 7 on Hawk Manor. That was the worst one so far. 1 and 3 on Copperbell Mines, and 1 and 4 on, can't even remember the last one. Whichever one it was, I didn't take too long to get it. Wanderer's Palace. 1 and 4 on Wanderer's Palace. So it's about 20 to 30% drop rate. Since this is Final Fantasy XIV, that more or less means 70 or 80% chance for you to not get the drop rate. I can't really look at it as a glass half full kind of deal. So anyway, that's the overview for the next relic step. Now there is another quest after you complete all 4 of these called His Dark Materia. According to XIVDB, all it requires is that you speak with Mutamix Bubblypots at the bonfire in Central Thanolin, and then go speak with Geralt, and then you'll have your finished weapon. I don't want to scare you, but there is a part in here where he mentions that you may need 50 Atmas. It's a joke. You don't need it. It's immediately corrected by Geralt saying, no, 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 you don't need to do that. Probably a joke that they're playing on the people who hated that part of the Atma quest. 50 of each Atma, it says right here. Ignore that. You don't need 50 of each Atma when you get to this step. You're pretty much just doing this quest for the story. So anyway, guys, hopefully this guide was helpful to you. If it was, be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share for more Final Fantasy XIV information, videos, news, guides, whatever. And until next time, guys, take care.